I went into the police department in 1969, and in February of 1970, I was assigned to Park Police Station in San Francisco, which was the station charged with patrolling the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. The radical underground was in full swing and had been for several years, and a few months prior, the Ingleside Police District Station, or precinct, had been bombed by a pipe bomb being placed on a windowsill, and several officers were killed. We had officers being assassinated, shot on the street for no reason. There was not a crime taking place. We were being sought out and shot indiscriminately. So the stations erected these enormous fences, chain link fences around them, about 10, 12, 15 foot tall, and installed lights facing outward. And it became another hilltop base camp. And I found myself working the midnight shift, and I would arrive at midnight, and I was given an M16 rifle. And I walked outside the police station, just outside the lights, outside of the fence, and I would patrol because the station was inside of Golden Gate Park. We were surrounded by trees and undergrowth, and there I was, back in Vietnam, protecting a base camp.
It seems crazy.
We were at war.
Yeah.
But in a way, I think it helped me, because you have to remember that a lot of the combat infantrymen who returned from Vietnam returned from massive assaults to your being, your psyche, and then cut off and sent back into a world in which they had no control. I was sent back, and then I went into the police department. My war continued, and I was weaned off of it over a period of probably 6 or 7 years. As the war wound down, radicalism wound down, and then I moved on to something else in the police department, into investigations. So my war, I was gradually weaned off war, where others weren't. And I think it helped me as far as traumatic stress and those kinds of things. You have to remember that the people who were in that counterculture, particularly the people who were really politically involved in the Haight-Ashbury, where I was working, had the term I used to use is they conformed in the nonconformity. They didn't wash. They didn't change their clothes. They smelled. They had dirt all over them. They'd walk the streets, and they were doing drugs, and they were very, very unkempt, sloppy, and they had a whole different world, and I wanted no part of that. It's not like you just had long hair and a granny-type dress on, and it was clean. It wasn't that way. Yeah. And they were, to describe some of the craziness, at Park Station I remember standing outside, and a couple drove up in a huge school bus. At that time, the city was loaded with Volkswagen vans and school buses, and they lived in a school bus, and they carried this bundled package into Park Police Station. I was in front. I walked in with them into the station. They opened up the bundled package, and it was a dead baby. They were leaving the city and going off to a commune in the country, and they wanted to turn this in like, wow, man, we can't handle this anymore, and we wanted to give you this, and we're leaving, and you take care of it for us. And I couldn't understand that they didn't feel the parental feelings towards this child. They were just discarding another thing in their life that they didn't need as they moved off into the country to a commune. Obviously, we didn't let them go.